y'all, it's Jai again. Today I'll be showing you guys my first time making a lace closure wig. So I began by stretching the cap onto the mannequin head. This mannequin head is actually the measurements for my head, but my head is kind of big, so I had to stretch it out a little bit more to make sure it fit me right so it won't be too tight. After I secured the cap onto the mannequin head, I will now begin placing the closure onto the cap. But before I actually begin to sew it down, I want to make sure that I place it on top of the cap the right way. I'm going to make a side part wig, so I kind of pulled it over to the side a little bit. I didn't place the lace closure onto the cap the right way the first time, so I redid it. After I placed the lace closure onto the cap correctly, I began to sew it down onto the cap. So here I sewed down the lace closure onto the cap, starting on the sides. While sewing on the perimeter of the cap, I didn't place the needle inside the elastic band because I didn't want to make the cap not stretch at all. So I only went through the net the entire time. Sewing down the closure, you actually have to make knots or sew it really close to each other. Like the knots have to be close to each other instead of like being far apart, because you don't want any gaps when sewing down the closure. You have to make sure it is completely flat, and you also need to make sure that you clip it down or some way you enforce the closure down so it won't move while you're sewing it down either, because it'll make it lumpy or it just won't lay flat at all. I began sewing down the tracks at the very bottom of the cap, and to make sure that my tracks stay in place, I pinned down the tracks from side to side. I was having very bad technical difficulties with my camera at this time, so the angles are kind of messed up, but you can still get a gist of what I am doing and how I will be sewing down the tracks onto the cap. And that's pretty much what I'm going to be showing you. While I'm doing it, you can see the gaps, and I'm going to show you more. You can see the space in between the weave, but I actually have more hair on the side. Like, if you don't have enough hair, you kind of want to like space out the hair a little bit so you can make sure you can fill in the gaps later on. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm showing you guys how I began to fill in the gaps with the extra hair that I had left. And it'll still be a little gappy because this hair is pretty old and I didn't have like a lot of hair left, but at the same time it isn't going to be too spacey where like you can see the wig cap or anything. Also would like to mention that I didn't double weft my tracks. I don't recommend that you double weft tracks for a wig. I think people do it, but it's like, why? Because I did the flip over method. So if I would have did that, it would have made the wig or the sides would have looked bulky maybe. I think it would have did that. Or it would have been too hard to try to reinforce the tracks down on the sides really. So I didn't even try. So I am pretty much done. Well, I'm done with the wig, completely done sewing all of the hair down. I have to actually cut off the inside of it where you see the black part underneath the closure. That needs to be cut out, and that part is very crucial because you have to make sure you're not cutting out the thread. So after I cut it and I attempted to get the red out, some of the red, and I colored it, this is the finished look. Oh, and I also wand curled it. This is my final look for the wig. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to my YouTube channel and watching this video. If you guys would like to see how I achieved this color, you can go onto my YouTube channel and watch the video I uploaded about it.